So I just want to highlight the fact that let's not forget that colonization and all didn't end so long ago. It's just in 1960, which is about what 60 years ago. So it's not too far off. So I think even that Africa has been doing a lot well for itself, and it's moving at a fast pace. It's just that we get compared to developed countries who never went through colonization or any slavery. So that's why we feel like we're slow. But when you consider that it has only taken one generation for us to get to where we are at already, where you have countries like Ghana who are already making a lot of advancements, countries like Nigeria competing with the developed world, and so on and so forth. So I feel like we are doing well. We are going at a fast pace, and hopefully in 2 or 3 generations from now, we'll be having a wonderful development. But like I said earlier, it really takes for us to really fight against the system, because it's easy, like I said, it's easy. It might be easy to blame the leaders, but you change the leader today, and if the people who are working behind the scenes don't like that one, they'll easily get rid of him. So I think it's important for us to work to change the whole system, or use the system to our own advantage. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Jema. I would like to add something more. I think you've talked about colonization and slavery, and I want to add that when you want to buy a slave, you don't buy a weak slave. You buy the most able men, the most intelligent men, and the men with high skills. And slavery came to Africa and did a lot of harm to Africa, because most of the Africans' manpower and man-force were actually all exported to the Europeans. And so the European countries, or the people who were actually buying the slaves, had an advantage, because they had these people who were strong enough to be able to build their economies, to actually build their industries, because some of the industries were actually built with by the incoming migrants and slaves, which also meant that Africa was left barren, void of the strong manpower. And during the Industrial Revolution, there was this aspect of, before that, the wealthy countries, one of the deciding factors of how wealthy a country was, or how rich a country could be or will be, was noticed by the population of that country. And Africa lost most of its population to slavery, and the population was a direct proportional relationship to what could be constructed, because if there are many people in a particular area, there's obviously enough manpower to actually build up these structures for mining, for all the other things, which are some of the things that actually caused Africa. And so before Africa could recover from this thing, the able bodies, the intelligent people, had already been taken away. The people that were growing up now were growing up in a particular structure that might have lost the previous intelligence, or the previous know-how of how to build these certain structures and these certain things, and they had to rely on the colonial structure. And that's why you see this kind of our democracy that we have in Africa is not working well, because they are trying to emulate what they had when they had the colonial powers. You see, we have this kind of African socialism, where the government is at the top, controlling most of the industries, most of the sources of income, and all the rest, and then the people are actually consumers. Unlike the normal kind of capitalism, where we have individuals actually coming up, as Mr. Charles was saying, individuals coming up, building their structures and all the rest. In Africa, if the government doesn't build a structure, it will not exist, right? And the policies are actually built and centered upon all of these things. That is not the type of the capitalism, or the type of society that some of these Europeans have. But we have that because we knew from our colonial powers, we are getting some of these resources, and we are trading to them, and we're trying now to emulate this type of governing structure, which doesn't work in Africa.